How's everybody today? Good. Well, after looking at the game, don't really have a lot of different feelings about it. I thought we competed very well in the game and got off to a really fast start, which was important offensively. First couple drives, blocking a field goal, big momentum swings in the game. I think at this time of the year, though, when we didn't do things as well as we would like, it came back to a lot of the fundamentals that are pretty basic to being able to execute at your position. So I don't think things like that can go unnoticed at this time of the year. And guys have to develop good practice habits in terms of what they do and make sure they're still focusing on the process of what they need to do to play well. We had some guys that had really good performances offensively. Chance Warmack, SEC, Player of the Week. Michael Williams and T.J. Yeldon had very good games defensively. Denzel Duval and C.J. Mosley, and special teams, John Fulton, Christian Jones, Cyrus Jones, and Cody Mandel all did a really good job, in the game. From an injury standpoint, we got a couple guys like always. It'll be a little slow today, probably. A.J. and Amari Cooper, but we look for them to progress, pretty rapidly through the week and be okay, probably even tomorrow. This is a great team that we're playing and a great program. I think the most important thing for us to do is focus on preparing to play our best football. It's always what's important when you play, good teams. Is to do a good job in preparation, have a good understanding of what you want to do. When you're playing on the road, it takes a special focus to be able to execute and do the things and stay tuned to what you have to do to be successful. These guys have obviously been pretty successful at home. They've got the longest running streak in the country. Les Miles, to me, has done as good a job as anybody in our league ever has in terms of what he's been able to accomplish and the consistency that they've accomplished as a team there through the years here in his 8 years at LSU. This year's team, they still got great running backs, and they're still able to run the ball very, very effectively. And winning on the line of scrimmage in this game, both sides of the ball, is probably, one of the most important factors in the game. They're a ball hawking, big turnover type of defense that creates a lot of negative plays for you. They still have really good explosive players on offense to make big plays down the field. So if you're trying to load up to stop the run, you can create problems for yourself. So, this is a really, really good team. They've got good specialists, good punter, good kickers, good return guys. They're ranked nationally in a lot of different categories because they're very well coached and they've got really good players. They do a good job of executing their scheme. Both sides of the ball. So, they're ranked where they're ranked because they're a really, really good team. They're a very challenging game for us, and I think the most important thing for us, though, is to focus on doing the things that we need to do to take care of our business, what we control. That's always the most important thing in games like this.
Coach, Kenny Bell's made several of the most explosive pass plays that y'all have had this year, including one against Mississippi State. Can you just talk about his ability to stretch the field with his speed?
Well, Kenny has great speed, and we certainly, like to use him in that capacity. He's got a history of being able to do things like that, and I think for us to be able to do things to create explosive plays with the players that we have is, critical to being successful and creating a kind of balance on offense and having a threat to be able to do that, is helpful to the other parts of your offensive team. So, Kenny did make a great play in the last game. A.J. made a great throw, but beat a really good player on that particular play. And hopefully we'll be able to continue to do some things like that with all the explosive players that we have. But Kenny's been a guy that can get on top and has finished some of those plays for us, and we'll need to continue to do that to be successful.
I guess going back to from last year to this year, how much has your confidence grown in your kickers, both Jeremy and Cade? And Jeremy had the big national championship game against LSU, and he's been very reliable this year so far.
Well, I think both those guys have improved, and Um, they've gotten better each year. Cade's a lot more confident. I think, has confidence in the technical aspect of what he needs to do to be successful, and has had more consistency in his approach to being able to do that. Jeremy has always been pretty accurate, and continues to be that way, and has good maturity about him and good leadership. And Cody had a really good game in the last game. He's more consistent than he has been, but that's still what we're always working with to try to get that consistency out of our punting.
Nick, when you hear game manager, is that a negative connotation for a quarterback, or is that okay? I mean, as long as you win.
Well, it's to me, you can't be a good quarterback unless you're a good game manager, all right? Because you got the ball in your hand every time, and you're making some kind of choice and decision of what to do with it, whether you hand it off, what play you hand it off on, where you throw it in the passing game, and you got to process a lot of information quickly and make quick decisions. So I don't think it's fair to AJ that because I've said he's a really good game manager for us that it's like that means that he doesn't do anything. He does everything, and that's I don't think you can be a good quarterback unless you're a really good game manager. So that's the ultimate compliment to me. You have to have ability to make plays, but we've certainly been able to, make a few with our quarterback this year, and I think it's going to be important that we continue to be able to do that as well.
Coach, given that last year, this is the third time in a chronological year that you've played this team. Do you feel more familiar with them? Does it affect your preparation at all to have seen them now for a third preparation?
Well, I think every year is a different year. I think they have a little different team, a little different players, the way they're sort of going about what they do, and they're very effective in what they do. But, I think anytime you play somebody in your division or in your conference and you play them every year, you sort of develop a history of, and I'm sure they develop a history of the things that we like to do as well. And you feel like you can do a little bit better job in preparation because you have that knowledge and experience, going in to what you have to do. But saying all that to say this, just about every time these guys have played us, they do something a little bit different. So you also got to be prepared to be able to adjust in the game as well.
Your touchdown rate in the red zone, 74% this year. That's 15% better than last year. What do you consider a good rate, and to what do you attribute the improvement this year?
Well, you obviously want to score a touchdown every time you get the ball in the red zone. But I think red zone efficiency is very, very important to being successful. Scoring touchdowns in the red area, very, very important. It's our goal defensively to be, 60% effective in the red zone. So, and it's our goal offensively to be 90% effective, in the red zone. So we have made improvement, but it's pretty obvious that when you score touchdowns, it's worth twice as much as a field goal. So, that's always the goal every time you get there. So we have made some improvement, and we want to continue to be able to improve in that regard as well.
Also, fans tend to grumble when coaches run the ball up the middle, but you've had success doing that this season. How much of the rest of the offense is predicated on that success?
Well, you kind of sound like my wife now. She grumbles a lot when I go home because she says we run the ball up the middle. But, I think that direct runs, which some people may say run the ball up the middle is a bad thing. But, we package a lot of our plays, and when we get the look that we want, we try to, our offensive line, likes to be physical and aggressive, so our backs do a good job of running the ball inside. We made some explosive runs, running the ball inside, but we also run the ball fairly effectively on the perimeter, and I think it's a combination of those things that are important, to do. And we're trying to do the best that we can do with the players that we have. to feature their talents in terms of what we need to do to be successful. And when we execute, we do a pretty good job of it. And sometimes when we don't look so good doing it. So I think it comes down to execution, whether it's inside run, outside run, play action pass, drop back pass. And I think all those things are really, really important.